The most difficult or challenging part of the book was the chapter, I think it's chapter 3, which I entitled From Goldsmith to Google. And in that chapter, I try to deal with the development of education in the Western world in an overview. I don't obviously try to go into depth, but to get the big picture of what has been happening. Now, obviously, in very practical terms, that required an awful lot of research. It also, in personal terms, was a source of a kind of anguish to me, because I had come fresh, if you like, from re-immersion in my own culture with all that excitement and love and passion. And then I see a gradual deadening of education, or more that we're in a time warp, and that instead, for example, of curiosity, you have this whole transmission form of learning where the teacher is the sole repository of knowledge, accompanied of course by the textbook as an aid, and where that knowledge is just transmitted to the passive student who doesn't question, who learns it off by rote, and who tries to give it back again, to regurgitate it, as we say, in tests. And that was the certainly the model of the industrial age factory school, but with some variation, some improvements. It is very largely the model that we've adhered to in the West. Now, that is not saying that there isn't good teaching and learning going on, that there aren't good schools, that there aren't excellent teachers fired with the passion I've been telling you about. But on a systemic level, I think if we were to take an overview, I certainly felt there was no other thing I could say except we're stuck. We're still, our mindsets are still in the 18th, 19th century. The surprising thing I discovered in my research is that society at large, not just teachers, not just educators, but society at large has one concept only of education. So that when schools try to do something different, they don't always get the support that they need. They do sometimes. Now, I'm trying not to rule out the good things that are happening, but basically parents expect schools to be basically the same. The administrators have one mindset of how education should be delivered, and even students themselves aren't always comfortable with a new way of doing things, because they are used to expecting information to be given to them in school, the knowledge required for tests and examinations to be made easy for them. And this is so much at variance with what they're doing outside of school. So they have all this excitement with technology. Seymour Papert of the MIT talks about their love affair with technology, but they seem to leave that at the gate of the campus. And when they come in, they expect to sit back and not again everybody. But this has been identified in studies as one of certainly the big factors in disaffection, where students drop out of school, where they just, first of all, try to get themselves readjusted to the transmission form of learning. They think, right, I need this for credentialing, but it's very boring. And so they drop out. And then the real learning seems to take place out of school. And there are many, many studies which say games, social networking and so on, they may have their downsides, but our students are wired for this type of thinking, and they're learning some skills there without actually realizing some learning skills, which are very important for the 21st century workplace. So that was very difficult, because I hated the way the human spirit was being deadened in the classroom, in many cases, not in all.